Good morning. So this is the vocabulary preview for Chapter 10. We're going to learn about regular polygons. A regular polygon is a polygon in which all sides are congruent and all angles are congruent. And these are the symbols for congruence. When you have one line and they all have one line through them, the length of that side, it means all of those are the same length. If one of them had two lines through it, it would mean that side was a different length. Same goes for the angle measure. Since there's just one line making that angle measure symbol, and they all have one line, that means they are congruent or equal. Trapezoid. A quadrilateral with at least one pair of parallel sides. So here are some examples of a quadrilateral. Quadrilateral, quad means having four sides. And then having one pair, at least one pair that's parallel. So in this example, remember parallel is going in the same direction, exactly straight, both of them are straight and lined up. So the one here, the top and bottom, this one, the top and bottom, and then this one has two sets of parallel sides, these two and these two, because it's a square. And that, again, was a trapezoid. Polygon. A closed plane figure formed by three or more line segments. So the difference between a polygon and not a polygon is that if it is a closed figure and all the lines connect and they are straight lines, that makes it a polygon. If it does not connect, that is not a polygon. Quadrilateral. Remember, quad means four. It is a polygon with four sides and four angles. Quadrilateral has four sides, four angles. Congruent. Congruent means the same size and shape. Here, this is some symbols that show congruent. So see this one line here, one. There's another one right here. So these two lines in this picture are congruent. This angle has one line to form the angle measure sign, and one line. So these two angles are congruent. This one has two lines, and this one has two lines, so those two lines are congruent. So if we wanted to line these up, we would have to make sure the one with the two lines lines up with the other one with two lines. If this is three lines, so it's congruent to this other line with three lines. And then I also want you to notice that there's two angle measure symbols here and two here. So these two angles are congruent. This one has three, doesn't show up that great right now, but is congruent with this angle, which also has the same number of little rings there to make that angle measure. Parallelogram. A parallelogram is a quadrilateral whose opposite sides are parallel and congruent. So this has two sets of parallel sides, two sets of congruent sides. So this top and bottom are parallel and congruent. These sides are both parallel and congruent. The area. This is the measure of the number of unit squares needed to cover a surface without any gaps or overlaps. So it's the inside, the amount of space in the inside. And we figure this out by doing area equals length times width. That's for any kind of quadrilateral. It would just be length times width. That will give you the area in units squared. And the reason it's in units squared is because it's this 7 units across times the 3 units up will give us 21 little squares inside of here. That's why we call it square units. And then a composite figure. A composite figure is a figure that's made up of 2 or more similar figures such as triangles and quadrilaterals. actually not similar, simpler figures. So here, this composite figure, it just means that you take different polygons and you put them together, and they are not always the same. I mean, it could be two rectangles next to each other and a third rectangle up here, but it's some kind of shape that takes different polygons and puts them together to make a composite figure, and composite is putting them all together. All right, that's our vocabulary for chapter 10. Now we'll start our next part of the lesson, the do now, and the review for show what you know.